A lot of people post to impress. I'm just not the brand for you, and I'm so okay with that. Sell all the properties. I'm done. I want to be out of this. Hi, everybody. We are back. And there's a series of topics I was thinking about covering today, but where my heart and soul is right now is diving into refinding your voice when you've not used it for a long time. When you've denied your creativity or whatever it is that is your natural gifts, your zone of genius, that inherent thing in you that you know you're good at and lights you up. But when you've denied that for whatever reason, putting other people first, or maybe thinking this isn't as important as other things, or this isn't seen as impressive as other gifts or talents out there, you edit yourself. You say, oh, instead of being this creative, intuitive, whatever your gifts may be, I'm going to try to be more analytical or more logical or more whatever, strategic, fill in the blank. And when we deny ourselves that, I believe that it kind of chips away at our confidence, because essentially we're trying to be someone that we're not, aren't we? We're basically this performing monkey of, hey, if I act this way, will you be impressed? Will you like me? Will you love me? Will you follow me? Will you comment on my stuff or whatever? Will you buy from my business or brand? So you sort of perform in a way that you think people will want you to be. Again, when we do this, we deny ourselves the true gifts, like the real you that is deep down in there, the real personality, the persona that your closest people get to see of you and they love about you because it's your authentic self. And so how many of us go down these paths where we're like, oh, this is what I should be doing, right? This is what people are going to want in order to buy from me, right? Doing that so much, so often, you end up losing the parts of, like, you literally lose confidence in who your authentic self is because you're detached from that version of you. You just kind of hid her under this thing, under this blanket. And you're like, no, we don't want to be that version. We don't want to be like that self, whatever it may be. It's too bright. It's too much for people. It's too this. It's too that. I'm sure you've heard the quote, if you're too much for somebody, tell them to go find less, right? But why do we do it? Why do we hide those elements of ourselves that is the most authentic part? The most authentic part is what people will love about you. It's the thing that will make others connect with you. It's the reason that when I posted that video of me crying, and when I posted that post about having it all and having the Maserati and the $5 million in real estate, why was that so well received? Because I was being so utterly authentic, just literally bearing my heart and soul. And it's so lacking. I think a lot of people post to impress. There's so much out there around like being a certain way so you can be impressed with the way I am. Do you like the things I have? Are you impressed with you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's a show. It's a fucking show. So that people will be impressed with the things that you have or the way that you show up or the way that you look or whatever. And I'm so sick of that, especially in the coaching industry. Where is the authenticity? Where is the real side of you? Like, if you are creating content and you feel like a freaking robot and you just are not finding your actual voice. Well, first of all, you're going to be rusty, because it's like learning how to ride a bike. After you haven't ridden a bike for 15 or 20 years, you're going to get on it and you're going to feel a little rusty. You're going to be like, kind of forgot how to do this. And that's how you're going to feel about yourself. Like, I kind of forgot how to be myself. Or maybe it's just having a camera in front of you and creating content. It's like, well, it's going to take 15 or 20 shit videos, which by the way happened to me yesterday, probably because I had like an hour to sit down and life was crazy in between that hour before and after. And so when I finally sat down, I'm like, okay, gotta unleash the genius. But the light wasn't really like sparking. So I recorded like 3 or 4 shit videos and was like, you know what, I'm just not feeling it right now. So maybe I'll come back to this. Or you just stand up, like shake it off. Imagine that you're talking to your best friend. Imagine that you are just not trying to impress anymore. It's such a beautiful feeling to be like, I no longer give a shit. Like, you can judge me. You can think my content is whatever, fill in whatever negative word. And that's okay, because you know what? Then you're not part of my community. Like, if you don't understand, if you don't care to be on the journey, or you have no connection to the journey, you don't feel like anything I'm saying like resonates with you, that's okay. Like, I'm just not the brand for you. And I'm so okay with that, because I am the perfect brand for people who hear me, see me, and are like, oh, I just love what she talks about, or the way she shares, or whatever. So I've said this before in like regards to building brands. It's like, you don't want to be vanilla. You want to be a certain flavor that people are like, oh my God, I love that. Like pistachio macaroons. It's like, some people just love them. Some people just hate them. And that's okay. It's okay. Releasing the care is such a freeing place to get to. Love me or hate me, don't be indifferent. There's a TED Talk on that. Can't remember her name. Erica something, Napolitano. That's the vibe. That's the vibe. Love me or hate me, but don't be indifferent. So it's going to be a little bit rusty. It may be a little bit messy, and all of that is okay. You just have to get on the journey. You may record content and say, 5 out of 6 videos are trash and you weren't being yourself, and that's okay. Forgive yourself. Like, give yourself compassion and grace to be like, I'm finding my voice again. Or maybe for the first time. Maybe you've done the performing monkey for so long, being the person you think everyone wants you to be, performing in the way that you think everyone wants. And that little girl in there that was you at 4, 5, 6 years old, that creative little genius that lived in there and just played and created and didn't have a care in the world whether somebody liked her or not. Let's reconnect to that little girl inside who just creates and does and acts in the way that lights her up and makes her happy and just full of life and joy. And it never mattered what other people around her thought, right? So it's okay to be a little bit rusty. It's okay to restart. It's okay to find your voice. It's okay if you don't even know what your voice is, but you got to start, and you got to start practicing and putting it out there, getting active, finding who you are, what you believe in, what your mission is here on earth. And it's going to take some trial and error, because we never usually get it on the first try. There's going to be some variations. When I was talking to my husband about all the real estate stuff, he's like, well, I thought you were happy doing the creative stuff. And I was like, yeah, you're right. I was. Some days I was super happy, like in my creative zone, designing things. I'm a very artistic, creative person, but that can be true. And it can also be true that I really, really miss the coaching, the community, the fulfillment, like that sense of connection that I had when I did this work. So both of those things can be true. And we don't have to make like crazy irrational decisions, meaning for a hot minute, I was like, sell all the properties. I'm done. I want to be out of this. And now thinking more realistically, maybe the pathway is we get a full-time property manager to do all the things, and that business exists and runs, but I can also run and exist over here doing the things that are in my zone of genius. So there's some flexibility in thinking there. There's multiple pathways and options. But I think, as I mentioned in one of my other videos, it's like the safety and security, deciding it doesn't come from a house, it doesn't come from a client or any specific person. Your safety and security comes from within, from you deciding that you're going to be okay no matter what. No matter what the circumstance, that you have the inner strength and personal power to persevere through everything no matter what. So, boom. I love you guys. This has been a fun video. I will see you in the next one.